All right, let's dive into a story that unfolds across two very different landscapes. A world of blazing sand and deep shadow. In one land, you have a warrior whose desperate prayer brings about a victory that's, well, nothing short of miraculous. And in another, a history that's been completely forgotten leads to generations of suffering. It's all about how memory, or the lack of it, can literally shape the destiny of entire empires.
So on one hand, you've got Chittim. Think fire, think war, a place where epic battles are deciding the fate of kings in real time. And on the other, Egypt, a land of shadow where memories are fading, where the past is actively being erased. Which, as you'll see, sets the stage for a conflict that's much quieter but way more sinister.
So, in this first part, we're going to meet the main characters, the key players whose lives are about to collide with history and completely reshape the world as they know it.
First up, we've got Zepho. This guy is 131 years old and an absolute legend of a warrior. A descendant of Esau, he's basically the one-man shield for his people in Chittim. His whole life has been one conflict after another, but believe me, his biggest test is still on its way.
And of course, every hero needs a villain, right? Enter Angeas. He's the sharp, super ambitious king of Africa. This is a calculating ruler who looks at Chittim and just sees a prize for the taking. He is absolutely not going to stop until he expands his empire. Meanwhile, way over in Egypt, far from all the clashing swords, a totally different kind of power is taking the stage. Meet Memelel. He's young, he's untested, and he's the new pharaoh. The crucial thing here is he inherits the throne, but he gets none of the history, none of the gratitude that came before him. Okay, so the action kicks off immediately. For the second time, Zepho and his warriors managed to push back the African invaders. And this victory isn't just a minor setback for Angeas. It's so decisive that when the news gets back to him, this powerful king actually starts to live in fear of Zepho. At almost the exact same time, while all that fire and steel is clashing in Chittim, something quieter is happening in Egypt, something with far heavier consequences. Levi, who is the very last living son of Jacob, the last brother of Joseph, dies. And when he dies, the last living connection to the generation that saved Egypt is gone. An entire era of goodwill and respect is basically buried right there with him.
And that death? It's the turning point. This is where we see how fast gratitude can just curdle into oppression. It all happens because one nation's memory fades and another's suffering is just getting started. And check out this timeline. It really puts it into perspective. Just 11 years. That's it. In a little over a decade, the entire generation that knew Joseph, that remembered what he did for Egypt, is just gone. Levi dies, the old pharaoh dies, and a new guard rises up that has a very dangerous case of amnesia. And the fallout from that forgotten history? It's immediate, and it is brutal. Jacob's descendants go from being honored guests, I mean, they were landowners, they had wealth, to becoming oppressed laborers. The Egyptians just systematically take everything from them, turning their lives into one long nightmare of bitter servitude. And who's overseeing this whole thing? The 20-year-old pharaoh Menejol. To him, the story of Joseph and what he did is probably just some old, dusty scroll in a library somewhere. He doesn't see a people to be honored, he just sees a massive labor force that he can exploit for his own agenda. So, as this shadow is growing over Egypt, Zepho's legend is just exploding. He faces Angeas' army a third time, and this time, it's not just a victory, it's an annihilation. We're talking total, complete destruction. Not one enemy soldier makes it back home to tell the tale. Zepho's name becomes a force of nature. You can probably guess what happens next. A defeat like that doesn't just make a king angry, it breaks him. And now, for Angeas, this isn't about conquest anymore. It's personal. He's out for pure vengeance. And that sets the stage for one last epic showdown. Humiliated and just burning with rage, Angeas calls up his brother Lucas, and together they pull together an army that is just mind-bogglingly huge. 800,000 soldiers. This isn't an army meant to conquer. It's a wave of humanity meant to wash Chittim completely off the map. Now, Zepho sees this coming, and he's terrified. Who wouldn't be? So he sends this desperate SOS to his own relatives, the descendants of Esau in Edom. His plea is simple and raw. Come help us fight them. If you don't, know that we will all die. But the response he gets back? It's a gut punch. His own family, his own kin, refuse him. They hide behind some old peace treaty they have with Angeas. Just like that, Zepho is completely and utterly alone, staring down an impossible force.
So what do? All your allies have abandoned you, you're facing certain death, there's only one place left to turn. Pushed by his people, Zepho prays to the God of his ancestors Abraham and Isaac, begging for a deliverance that he knows he has no power to achieve on his own. And the results? Wow. Just look at this. It's not a battle. It's a divine smackdown. The Lord answers his prayer. On the very first day, 400,000 of Angeas' soldiers are wiped out. And on Zepho's side, 0. Not a scratch. Not a single casualty. That's just... it's unbelievable. You'd think Angeas would get the message, right? Nope. He doubles down in the most desperate way possible. He issues a decree that every single male aged 10 and up has to join the fight. He scrapes together another 300,000 troops, but it's totally pointless. His best captain is killed, his forces shatter, and he and his brother just flee in absolute terror, with Zepho hot on their heels. So the war is won. The dust is settling. But what's left behind are two totally different futures taking shape, one born from an incredible miracle, the other from sheer neglect. And both of them are defined by what was remembered and what was so easily forgotten.
I mean, this victory was so complete, so obviously not normal, that it starts making political waves. The famous strategist Balaam, son of Beor, a super smart and opportunistic guy, sees this divine intervention and immediately switches sides. He knows exactly where the real power is now.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. This incredible contrast. In Chittim, a forgotten prayer leads to a celebrated victory, but they go right back to their old gods. In Egypt, a forgotten history leads to unbearable suffering, which ends up setting the stage for a deliverance that will be remembered forever. But here's the kicker, the tragic irony in all this. After the battle, Zepho counts his warriors and realizes not a single one was lost. So what does he do? He throws a massive party. But he doesn't thank the God who saved him. In his absolute greatest moment, he completely forgets and just goes back to business as usual, serving other gods. So that's where we leave things. One hero is celebrating a victory while forgetting the very power that gave it to him. At the exact same time, an entire nation is sinking deeper into suffering because they have been forgotten by men. The stage is perfectly set, not for one warrior's prayer this time, but for the collective cry of a whole people, and for a deliverance the world will never, ever forget.